The Detroit Lions will open their minicamp, their rookie minicamp, that is, tomorrow, Friday morning, up through Sunday. It'll be the Lions coaches and staff's first look at how rookie corners Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw Jr. compete, how they go through drills, non-contact in terms of dealing with offensive players for sure, but nonetheless competitive, demanding, and an opportunity for the Lions coaches to instill their culture or begin to instill their culture. Also, start some of their installs, coverages, calls, alignments, coverage checks, but more so how you do things or how Aaron Glenn, Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson plan on doing things in 2024. I'm going to focus on the defensive side, the defensive coaching staff, them getting a look at these two corners in a further attempt to not begin the transformation of the 2024 defense, but will really continue the transformation that the front office began with acquiring all the veteran talent that they did, Carlton Davis III, Amik Robertson, Marcus Davenport, DJ Reader, among others. Arnold and Rakestraw are the most interesting pair for me, obviously with Giovanni Manu. But those two corners, they highlight the new players that will be in Detroit for minicamp this weekend. Sounds like it'll be nice weather for Friday and Sunday. For Michigan, nice weather, that is, for Friday and Sunday, sandwiched around potential rain day on Saturday. I don't pretend to know how much of their time will be spent outside. It sounds like the Lions are kind of secretive about this, even in terms of letting press in onto the field. Just from the little brief snippets that I've read, I would expect a lot of time to be spent in meeting rooms, checking out film from last year to install coverage, to talk about checks. And I'm mostly focusing on the defense here and what I discuss, because that's the side of the ball that the Lions focused on improving the most in this offseason, clearly. Arnold and Rakestraw, for me, become more impressive the more film you watch of them. I've put out a couple of Twitter film studies of those guys and just been impressed, and then went back and watched another game after a suggestion that someone sent me via Twitter message, and it just confirmed what I saw with Rakestraw. Did the Lions overdo it at corner? I can't say that personally. I've gotten some comments like that on some videos. They did grab two very talented and experienced guys who compete at the team's known position of weakness. Even after acquiring Davis III and Robertson, it's a truly unique offseason based on that one position, corner, because they transformed it, improved the overall talent level at that one position group that really plagued the team in 2023. Those two guys being on the roster, also another point, at rookie contract levels for 4 years is a blessing when you consider the re-signings that just occurred for St. Brown and Sewell, and then also the looming contract situation with Jared Goff. There's really, for me, there's no choice in it. You guys didn't show up for a Jared Goff video. I'm not really going to show film in this video. I'm just going to offer my own opinion. The proof is there for 2 years plus. I think Goff is the guy for your team. Maybe not for the Chiefs, the Jets, the Cowboys, the Ravens, whatever. Maybe you could name 10 other teams he's not the guy for. But to me, as someone who began by observing from the outside and now over time has spent so many of my own hours and so much time watching film and trying to understand so many things Ben Johnson and Jared Goff do, I believe you got the right guy already. He's 29 years old. How does that relate to this rookie minicamp? It doesn't. But my point is, the offense doesn't face nearly as many variables in this rookie minicamp and all the offseason work. Why? Because they returned Ben Johnson and Jared Goff. There aren't as many new faces to integrate, number one. Number two, you have two guys as the head of the offense coordinator, the quarterback, then your right tackle, Sewell, and your best player, receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown. All of them should be locked up for the future because this formula works. The defense is the side that has a number of veteran guys that they brought in, some who've already performed on high-level teams. Carlton Davis III won a Super Bowl with the Bucs. DJ Reader didn't just make a Super Bowl with the Bengals, but he also played with the Houston Texans, at one point sharing the field with legends like Vince Wilfork and J.J. Watt. There'll be a pretty strong group of veterans brought in to mix with the first-round picks. Former first-round selection Davenport, and then you have an ultra-competitive, feisty, borderline angry football player in Amik Robertson, a guy with film that to me just screams Lions or Ravens. The two teams that I'm blessed enough to be able to watch both have players that, in my opinion, play the game the right way. That's what Robertson looks like to me. The first look at some of the offense guys, sure, it'll gain some attention. The offensive lineman brought in Giovanni Manu, Christian Mahogany. I heard that Manu is apparently moving to guard. That's kind of surprising for me since his size, athleticism look like a modern offensive tackle. But I guess we'll see beginning Friday morning. I am interested in who attends on the offensive side since the mandatory minicamp is less than 1 month away. I think it's June 4th or 5th, something like that. So a little less than a month away at this point. It's always a fun weekend, whether it's Ravens or Lions, to hear about the rookies' first team activities. Although I think in this case, no one apparently is allowed to see anything for the Lions. I might be wrong there. Feel free to update me in the comment section. One element to this offseason that I want to bring up is yes, there are a bunch of intriguing UDFA prospects that Detroit's brought in. The most for me is Isaiah Williams, the wide receiver from Illinois. He's got 160 total catches his last 2 years there in the Big Ten. The center from Florida, also very good. I think he started 30-plus games in the SEC. Could have been drafted if it weren't for an injury. Kingsley Aguakin, if I said that name correctly. Forgive me if I mispronounced it. The linebacker from Ohio State, also fun to hear about. Converted running back, played well at Ohio State. I think he may have led the team in tackles there in 2023. He's got 4 career interceptions, but to me, he looks like a special teams guy because of how much depth there is in Detroit at inside linebacker. Alex Anzalone, Derek Barnes, Jack Campbell, Malcolm Rodriguez. I'm also hopeful to hear about a guy that maybe you guys have not heard of, Nate Lynn. I hope he makes it to some preseason games. I'm sure you have not heard of him, at least not with as much intensity and consistency as I have. Really impressive defensive end from William and Mary. Finished his college career, 28 sacks, 12 of them in 2021, and then 8 each in the last 2 years. Big play guy. Also 12 or 13 forced fumbles, maybe 14 forced fumbles in his career, obviously not in a Power 5 conference. Nonetheless, I want to see how he competes at that defensive end position. I know some people who coached against him in college, and they said he was a unique talent at that level. Williams, for my money, is the guy who, well, he took the most money to come to Detroit, which tells me there was other suitors, other teams asking him to come. So smart decision. Since they didn't draft a receiver, smart decision by the Lions to go get a high-level talent. Again, 160 catches his last 2 years at Illinois, guy that makes plays with the football in his hands. The first 5 guys on the depth chart at wide receiver are pretty set, right? St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Khalif Raymond, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and then Antoine Green that Detroit drafted in 2023. My point in mentioning the UDFAs isn't just my interest level, it's this. When you talk about the Lions roster, there's 2 current players on the roster who have made it as UDFAs. Brock Wright is the most well-known, to my knowledge, and then Stephen Gilmore. So shout out to my Patreon supporters in the Lions Discord that I run for linking me some information on the UDFAs and reminding me about Gilmore, guy who's a talented corner that I'm going to use as an example. Moving forward, there's just so much talent on this roster. It's going to be difficult for any of those UDFAs that I mentioned to make the team. To repeat what Brock Wright did in 2021 and what Gilmore did last year. There's just so much depth on the roster, so much overall talent. I think it's a different playing field. The 2024 offseason is a vastly different offseason than last year, 2023, going into the 2023 season, and just another dimension from post-2022 leading into 2021 leading into 2022. Forgive me, I knew I was beginning that sentence wrong. The 2022 team started 1-6, and things looked normal for some of the people that judge the Lions based on their previous 10 or 12 years. And then they got up off the canvas, roared to a 9-8 finish. If you look at everything after the 1-6 start up to now, an offseason after losing in the NFC Championship game at San Francisco, when you have a lead and the football twice, it's a totally different world. These UDFAs are going to be up against it to try to make the team because the margin for error now for this Lions team is larger when they step on the field against other NFL teams. the defense that Brad Holmes has put together, talent-wise, they can make more plays. They can make more plays in a typical manner without having to blitz so much. And the offense is already a top 5 offense. They won games last year where the defense would survive for certain stretches and then get exploited, but more often than not, the offense was able to either build a lead or overcome it. They went 12-5 in the regular season. These UDFAs are in a difficult spot. That's why I wonder about the Isaiah Williams situation. It sounds like there were other people bidding for him to get an opportunity as a UDFA. Credit to Brad Holmes, the scouting department, the coaches for improving the talent on the roster immensely in each of the last 2 off seasons. After the 2023 draft, they just improved the overall talent level of the team. Gibbs, Campbell, Laporta, Branch, Hooker, all at different positions on the field, all improved the roster, basically leveled up multiple spots. This year was the cornerback position specifically, and the O-line was a secondary focus with one player with long-term potential, Manu, and another guy, Mahogany, who can certainly start or contribute much sooner. In any case, the combination of the 2 drafts and the free agent signings makes this year's goal for 2024 really no different from last year, but I think much more clear. That's winning the Super Bowl for the first time ever. I can only imagine for you as a Lions fan how quick the turnaround must seem. Maybe I'm sure it's been a long time coming for people that have been Lions fans for decades. But they've done such an incredible job of acquiring and developing talent. The switch has almost been flipped instantly, and I think that's difficult for other people around the league that are not Lions fans to recognize. I even know some really good football people that I communicate with often or speak to on a daily basis, even up through and after the Ravens beating Detroit last year in Week 7, said, this is the same old Lions. And I was like, guys, this is not the team you think it is. Sure enough, Detroit was able to rebound from that loss, really damn near created a rematch situation in the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, we were both robbed of that on both sides of the coin. Regardless of draft position, whether you're selected in the first round, 4th round, 5th round, or UDFA, from the outside looking in, or semi-outside as I am now, it seems like the front office, coaching staff, and players are all of one mind and focus, and that's winning a Super Bowl. This weekend seems like a really nice opportunity, the first of 2024, for the rookie players to come in and begin that process, that vertical and horizontal alignment to get consistent with the culture. I know me personally, I'm looking forward to hearing about how it goes, whatever news trickles out of Lions minicamp. And if I misunderstood the situation in terms of media or press access, feel free to educate me or update me in the comments. Let me know who you are, what situation you're most excited about in the comment section as well in terms of being addressed in the installs this weekend. If you think other Lions fans would appreciate this video, this little preview of Lions rookie minicamp, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach. If you have any suggestions for film study videos that you'd like me to conduct, either on YouTube or on Twitter, please let me know in the comments section. Appreciate you guys' time.